welcome back to another episode of It Depends, I Guess podcast. I'm Jackie.
I'm Caroline.
And at the back, we have
DJ.
Yay, welcome back.
It is season 2, episode 8.
Yes,
if you're just catching up. Thank you.
Thank you for coming back.
Yeah.
We are changing things up a bit.
We're shifting gears.
Yes, that's a word. Ooh, Kizungu came on a ship. So let's start with what your aha moment, or it depends of the week.
My
few weeks, whichever.
Yes. So my aha of the week, actually, I've been thinking this a lot. I believe Tanzania is going to take over tourism in East Africa.
Okay.
And we are not doing anything about it because as Kenyans, we've always prided ourselves as the best when it comes to tourism as an industry. It's one of our highest earners, by the way, either first or second. But having traveled to Zanzibar so many times, and actually recently, a week ago, I can see it coming, and it's coming in hard. They're coming in hard. So my aha moment, or it depends. I don't know. It depends if actually Kenya picks up the slack, you know.
Okay. No, I said let's go to DJ's defense or aha of the week.
Aha of the week.
Yes.
Aha. You go first, and then I'll tell you as soon as I'm ready.
I'm gonna say, yes. Yes, I agree. I think it's been interesting to see that I bump into ads or a lot of influencers pushing Tanzania, which means that their tourism board has been pushing a lot.
Yeah.
Which is really dope to see. But I see Kenya is trying. I see a bunch of new, to be fair, please hire Kelis as as our new tourism ambassador, because that lady and her body is like, to be fair, I even watch her videos on mute.
And I'm trying to guess. That is. Who's that?
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard.
Kelly's.
Yes,
okay. She's been all over Africa and actually Kenya most of the time.
I suspect she's bought property in Kenya. I suspect she lives in Kenya.
Yeah.
I suspect. Cannot be verified. But I see a few new celebrities starting to, like, I think, I forgot her name. Nicole Murphy. Eddie Murphy's ex. I think was also brought in by the tourism board recently. Yeah. So I can see that there's some effort. I don't...
You know, we have a saying in Swahili, kwa ground vitu ni different.
Yeah, this is true. Because even when I saw the Nicole Murphy one, I was like, oh, that's okay. That is I don't know how many people who are following her, right? So I thought it was an interesting, maybe they're diversing, maybe there's other super Gen Z influencers who I don't follow, or Gen Alpha, like younger influencers who I don't follow. But I do agree with you that we're not doing a good job.
Yeah.
But also, I'm reading, oh my Lord, I should have come with the book. So I'm reading this book there's these two guys who one is a biologist, or are they both biologists? And then one became a journalist.
Yeah. And
they were on Lynn Ngugi's show. So I bought their book. And it was really, it's a really good book. I'm like maybe 3 chapters in, really, really good book. But it's talking about how the conservation industry and this tourism space, etc., a lot of it is still very white-owned.
Yes.
And it's essentially like it's a form of activism from like a biologist view, right? Mm-hmm. But what was interesting is, which is why I've thought this is a good thing to bring up, is I don't know how many Kenyans truly understand the tourism industry and wildlife and all that stuff, right? Which, as you said, we've prided ourselves of being like, we are dope at tourism. We are, but the thing we say, do we really understand it? Not really.
Yeah.
Do we really understand what's going on in terms of even the tourism industry itself? What percentage of it is actually owned by Kenyans? How much of that money is actually going down to the ground?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's much.
There is specific hotels that I've had in Kenya where if you book, your payments are actually sent
to... You pay in Europe.
You pay in Europe, so either in UK, because, our good old colonialists still own a massive amount of property and land. Yeah. And most of the hotels actually are run from there.
Yeah.
I think for me, it depends, and I can see why Tanzania is taking over is because I can see how fast the infrastructure is catching up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I give you a good example. As a Kenyan who travels like within our coastal area, and mostly I go to Diani, and also I spend a lot of my holidays in Zanzibar. Even the hotels themselves in Kenya, you pay.
Wait, say that again. Then do a sound effect. She's like, I spend many of my hotels in Zanzibar.
Something
So sound
fancy.
effects. Let's not skip past that.
There you go.
Yeah, but first of all, I believe I've done a lot of tourism like outside of Africa. Yes. But this is when I could, like when I moved to Europe. But now I'm more intentional in taking my money back home if I can. So if I'm going, if it's a big birthday, if it's a big celebration, I take it back to Kenya, or I take it back to Tanzania, which is my second country. So my big comparison is if I book a hotel in Diani, good example, this February we had a hotel. You pay per person sharing. You're not paying for the room. You're paying
Like the offers and discounts that they have.
No, it's the standard there. So if me and you are in that room,
Oh, I was gonna ask which hotel. Odd. Okay.
most of them actually. Even when we stayed in Swahili Beach, do you realize
Yeah.
we paid per person sharing?
Oh, so if you're staying in, okay, no, but I've gone with people who are not sharing, like, and people get individual rooms.
Yes. If you get individual room, that's fine.
Yeah.
You'll pay yourself, yeah. But if you're two people, you're charged double almost for the room.
I see what you mean.
Yes.
So instead of cost per room.
Per room, it's cost per head.
Yeah.
And I don't know why Kenyans, we want to do this so much. And if you go to Tanzania, you're actually paying for a room. Of course, there's a small stipend you have to pay if you have an extra person, but it's not ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's probably like maybe $25
$25,
something.
yeah.
It's not the same amount as the pass.
Yeah.
It is amazing when you compare. It is a total scam. But I don't know. They're going to overtake us very soon.
I have a slightly controversial take. Given that I don't know how much of our tourism is controlled by us, a lot of it is still controlled by the people. Is it so bad if our tourism goes to shit? If the industry goes to shit?
No,
because if a lot of the money is still not going to locals.
It's a high, it depends. It is a high employer for locals.
No. If you go to the Masai Maras and the rest, those locals are paid terribly. They're paid peanuts.
If you were to go to maybe the coastal area, I do know, and this is something I have.
But you see, the coastal area, it's the animals that are our high earners.
It's not the beach. And
the beach is great and everything.
Yeah.
But there's a shit ton of money that comes in through the Savos, the Maras, the Amboselis, the what's that place owned by the monarchy in Laikipia?
The Lewa.
I think is it Lewa, whatever the biggest one there.
Yeah.
A lot of these things are not owned
100%.
And a lot of, and maybe because maybe I'm riled up because I'm reading that book, is also how they've made sure people who live around there stay at a certain level.
Yeah.
Because, no, we don't want to ruin the view of the mountain if a school is put up there. Or, it's just, it's really not great. So if there's a part of the industry that is truly going to the locals, absolutely, we should figure out a way how to. But I think there's so much that needs to be fixed in our country. I don't even know where to.
Well, so your take is let it go to shit if it needs to go to shit.
No, not necessarily. But if Tanzania is putting in the work, they deserve it.
Yeah.
If we're not putting in the work, I mean, but also there needs to be something that shifts. when it comes to actual ownership and how these things are run and how the community is also integrated as part of whether it's the tourism ecosystem, the conservation ecosystem, something has to change there. So I don't know if we should, if the government is pouring in money to continue boosting tourists to go to the Mara, but that money is going to
somebody else's pocket.
Some random Europeans. I don't know if that...
But I can sort of agree with you in the fact that even in Tanzania, sorry to say, like I spent like 1 hour with a taxi guy and he was explaining to me how now here in Zanzibar that traditionally people in the island looked at tourism as something against their culture. So they never got involved from the very beginning. So actually, like even when you go to the hotels, definitely Kenyans are the ones running the hotels because they're like, well, they know the industry really well. So it is not benefiting the locals that much.
So what you're saying, Tanzania is winning, Kenya is winning. Then I'm all for it.
Actually, that's true. Kenya is actually winning a lot because even the people I've met in some of the big hotels are Kenyans. They're the managers. But also like there will be a bit of the Tanzanians, especially the locals who are Zanzibari. You can still see they're living in a lot of poverty. But
and those hotels are owned by foreigners.
Definitely. I think the worst for me was stepping into one hotel last December and the person who's charging me at the desk, at the reception, was somebody from Italy. I'm sorry to say. And I was like, I cannot even speak Swahili to this person and express myself.
So
how do you know? How do you know you couldn't speak Swahili?
They couldn't.
You couldn't?
Yeah, they couldn't.
Okay.
There's no way they could. And I'm paying and I can see definitely.
But can you see the way in Switzerland, if you were to see some African guy in a top 5-star hotel, would you feel some kind of way about that? That's why I'm here in Switzerland and I can't speak Swiss German.
Because we have been oppressed. It's fine. Let us
Okay.
Okay.
But it's a different.
I just want to know where we stand. Is that where we stand?
Story.
Okay.
It's a different story.
That's where we stand.
But if I bet like if a Swiss person saw like a person owning like the biggest building, they saw a black person or probably a Kenyan like me owning the biggest building in Zurich. Of course, they will start feeling some kind of way.
But is that feeling valid if everyone is meant to have free business and free trade and you can work where you want to work? If you work hard for your money and you will make it in Switzerland, being an African, isn't that okay?
Yes.
It is okay.
It
is okay.
There's no problem.
Because I don't think they've not worked hard. They played unfair.
Yes,
no, I just want to see where we stand.
Yes. And also they have a big advantage there. It's not equal. It is. They do have big advantage.
Some places in Italy are tougher.
No, I mean in Zanzibar, having to buy land there, their euro is stronger, so they can come and take over the economy.
No, but he's got no power over where he was born. So where he invests his money is also the same thing.
Well, you know who?
Do you know what I mean?
Who I always blame is the systems, right? The systems in Tanzania or Kenya, whatever, should have it such that your people are able to own, grow, like have, where there's a fair competition, right? Because here there's like very tough rules, right? So a foreigner,
for everyone as well. It's
no,
just
for even foreigners. For example, try to own property here as a foreigner and leave the country and see what happens, right? So they put these things.
Yeah,
it's they're soft things that are kind of put in a way that such that if you are to succeed here, you've really worked hard.
Yeah,
right. You've really, really, really worked hard as a foreigner. It's not like maybe in the US it's different because that's a land that's it's a land of immigrants, right? It came from bring your weak, bring your whatever. But here in at least even here in Switzerland, it's the systems are such that it's not overt, it's very covert.
But
the hoops you have to jump through are not the locals are not going through.
But
this.
I'm just saying that as she saw an Italian in the front desk there, there are billionaires here who are black and African.
No, but
I think there's a context.
There are millionaires who
let
are
me give
black
you
and
the context.
Africans here in Switzerland.
There's a context that's lacking. Also, for example, in Kenya, in Malindi, there's it's owned by a lot of Italians, right? Mm-hmm. It's not a fair trade of all people came in and the systems have made it such that people can come in and pilferage. Yeah. Right? And it's not pilferage because it's not that the locals are not doing anything because they're just lazy. They lack Just even the basics they lack. So, for example, Lamu in Kenya is one of the poorest counties in the country. But Lamu is, if you want to go to a place with insane like white beaches, and it's stunning.
Yeah.
And then all the amenities are owned by foreigners. But the locals are like, it's complete starvation, right? So if it's different, if people are thriving, then also people can come in and are able to invest. That's great. So that's why I'm saying the system also plays a part here. I'm not just blaming the foreigners.
Yeah.
The system.
Yeah.
So
as
it's
a
not the
foreigner-
Italian for its
No,
fault.
no,
it's
like
the system's fault.
let me expand why for me that was quite shocking. Yeah. If you go and invest in a certain country, there are requirements for certain countries that tell you have to employ this number of locals in
labor
that country.
laws,
The labor
wages,
laws. Yeah.
minimum wage.
Yes. And if you go to, if for example, the very low end jobs are actually for foreigners who have already owned the business to come and also work there, you're already taking away from the local people. So if the person who is the receptionist, and this is a very small hotel, a boutique hotel, the receptionist, that's I would say an entry job, the reservations person, that's an entry job. So if there are no structures in place that say if you have this business and if you invested here, a certain percentage of jobs should be given to the locals, then you have room for people to actually come and take over and own the business and actually run the business from the very end up to a cleanup probably.
And abuse the system too.
And abuse the system. So for me, that was very shocking that the very entry job is actually being run by a foreigner.
Yeah.
I don't mind if you can't bring your money, but be in the background.
The rules should be, it's the same way like...
Yeah.
We all know the Chinese are building the roads in Kenya. Not a problem. But when the person mixing the cement and they're like, kazi ya mkono, I don't know how, manual labor, kazi ya mkono is the Chinese. They've brought people who apparently they're prisoners who are being brought in to come and, like, you mean you there's no Kenyans who can mix cement.
Yeah.
Or compact.
I think that now you're blaming individuals when it's the bigger system.
That's it. No, I did say the system is
so
the system
it's
plays
not
a
something
role.
where you can go and blame the guy who's there mixing the cement, a Chinese guy who's over from China. He says the opportunity was
but
here,
our system is a problem. But that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm giving the example of here. The system is set up such that, right, you don't abuse the system. Foreign companies are welcome, but you have to hire a certain percentage of people, etc. There's some sense and rhyme to it. Okay. We don't seem to have that.
And also on the reverse, and also now here it depends in all aspects, is that on the reverse of it all, when we came, because us we are foreigners who are employed in these countries, like even in Ireland, we needed when the companies we were working for were set up, Ireland had a requirement that a certain number of Irish people had to hold specific roles, like even the high level roles within the company. There were stipulations in place for the companies that are setting up in these countries. So if it's a free for all country, you find like even on the highest of the positions are held by foreigners.
Maybe we should flip this around. Clearly, we should go invest in Tanzania because
honestly,
clearly we should go invest there.
They've changed something recently because before you needed to own, I think, a certain percentage. Like foreigners needed to own only a certain percentage. They've decreased something in the last 2 or 3 years, so they have a lot of external investments coming into the country.
Maybe the thing is we go invest there.
And the infrastructure is growing. Like within 6 months, I saw changes I've never even seen in some of the smaller parts of the island. I saw like roads built, like I left some were being put in place. And then next time I come back after 6 months, like everything is freshly done. And kudos to the president.
She's a lady.
Suluhu Hassan,
Yeah.
Yeah, she is a lady, and I think she's
oof.
down to business.
Yes.
Yes.
I envy you, and going to Tanzania, being amongst a population, because I've been a foreigner for so long here.
Oh, I remember the first time you came to
That
Kenya.
now I just when you said that, when you saw an Italian behind the desk, I thought, what a privilege. Imagine if I was a local saying these white Italians coming here and taking our jobs. Hiya. Doesn't even speak Swahili. Doesn't that sound familiar? It sounds very familiar.
It sounds very familiar.
It sounds very
It
familiar.
sounds like how they talk about us.
Yeah, that's coming here, taking our front desks. Why can't you, man? Stop it.
No, but that's not an equal comparison.
Yes.
Because
But it sounds familiar.
no,
It
because
sounds
when we
exactly
come
the same.
here, there is a quota of people. There is a requirement minimum for them to hire locals. So you there's a reason why you have to go through it's like jumping hurdles to get like the work permit, to get all these different things. It's not easy.
Fair.
It is
Yeah,
not easy. Trying to move to a foreign country in Europe as a worker is not easy.
Yeah.
The movement in the opposite direction.
It
Very
is very easy. Yes. It's not a fair game. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, wait, did you think of your aha of the
My aha actually found out this weekend that if you get too high on grown plants,
Yes.
do you know how you can sober yourself if you get too high
on?
on weed?
Oh,
Marijuana.
If you garden,
Yeah, if
if you garden
you
too
got
much.
it. Mhm.
Do you know how you can sober yourself up within seconds?
What?
Bite an onion or a lemon.
Really?
Yes.
He's-
That will set you on the straight and narrow quick fast.
Have you tested
No,
this?
well, I cannot say because I,
You do not partake.
I don't. Well,
In the God's given
can
plant.
I exercise my Fifth Amendment right at this moment.
Yes.
Thank you.
You don't
That's
partake
my
in the
aha.
herbs.
No. That was my aha.
That was
moment.
your aha. That's a good aha.
Let me put it at the back of
Yeah.
my mind for
Try it.
One
Future
day,
reference.
Whenever
future
you get
reference.
really, really,
One day,
really
if you get
stoned,
somebody trips you and you fall face plant
onion
yeah.
and
or lemon.
happen to
Yeah.
Yeah, trust me.
orange, not orange, onion.
Onion and a lemon.
Onion or
Me,
lemon.
I'm for legalize it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Germany did.
Yeah, Germany legalized
Yeah.
weed. Yeah.
I think I said my aha. Oh, I mean, my aha was reading that book. It's like it's really good to see. I think for a long time, activism has been shown in a certain way. Either it always has to be very, either you're in the street or in your, but I think it showed me that you can be an activist in your day-to-day jobs. Or even just how you spend your money. Choosing to say, I'm going to spend my money in specific places. That's a form of activism. That's
Yeah.
a form of defiance,
Yeah.
right? So no, that was really good. We'll put the name of that book in the description. But yeah, really, really amazing. And also because like the people they're talking about, they're going against the leakies, the Richard Leakies and the whatever, like being honest about kind of the conservation space and the tourism space. It's I mean, I knew it was dark, but hey,
Yeah.
it's dark.
Like even the hotel, the one that's in the Giraffe Manor, I hear there's lots of stories around there. Like
Yes.
even who can get access to that hotel. It's almost like a curated list. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's hearsay. If ever watches this, but it's hearsay.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yes.
Not confirmed.
I've got the legal team on the phone to me now.
say allegedly.
They said use that a little bit more.
Allegedly.
Yes.
All right. So jumping into kind of a new format. I think today we want to touch on vulnerability. Oh, I can say it. Vulnerability and men.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll give two scenarios that I've seen. But first, let me ask, what comes to mind when you think about vulnerability and men and the stereotypical, I mean, we're saying we're changing world, but a common thing that you had is vulnerability in men is seen as weakness. How do you feel about that?
I think I'm still very stuck in some of the upbringing that we had when you talk about men and weakness and vulnerability, because it so happened that I was seated at a table 2 weekends ago or a weekend ago, and I saw a man crying. And it took me a minute to sort of, and I don't want to laugh about it because he probably had big emotions.
I hope he doesn't hear this as well.
He doesn't.
I hope he doesn't hear. My guy, I'm with you. Listen.
I think all of us, anyway, it was over something we thought was stupid. Let me just rephrase it. It wasn't like something major that had happened and I saw the tears. It's something that most of us viewed it as something that was like, that's nothing.
That's not something to cry over.
That's nothing to cry over. You never cry over spilt milk, move on to other things. And all of us were staring at this person crying. And I remember the first thoughts were like, men don't cry in front of other men on a table. Like, yes, it's okay to cry.
In public.
In public. Go wipe your tears in a corner somewhere. Yes.
Jesus, yes.
So it's interesting. We have this topic, and this happened like 2 weeks ago. But I'm still working through to think about when I think about vulnerability in men, and tears is one way of expression. It could be also them expressing their feelings. That's another way of being vulnerable, which in the spaces I've been, it doesn't happen a lot. Yeah. So,
DJ, your thoughts?
I'm listening for now. I will circle back.
All right. So I'd like to say I used to be like, no, I'm evolved. Yeah, men should have feelings. Or I would like to be in a world where men are allowed to express their feelings. In theory, it's great. It's true. But also, so I'll give an example. So I used to be I was in this situationship. Was it a relation? No, I guess it's a situationship. And I remember the first time he cried, I was like, oh, that's nice to see a dude who's like, and not embarrassed about it. All right. Now, okay. So question is, do I think vulnerability in men is weakness? This is where my depends comes in. Over time, because this happened a few times, over time I realized I don't think it's weakness. I do think it's weakness when someone is taking advantage of it.
Yeah, okay.
So I started to realize that when they would fuck up majorly, they would cry. And because I'd be like, oh, again, it's still not something I was used to. It was like, oh, damn, he's crying. Okay. You kind of like, you're focused on like, oh, it's okay, it's all right, blah, blah, blah. And you forget and you kind of like, things are, you don't want to rock the boat for like weeks. Then weeks pass and I look back and I'm like, hold on. That dude was wrong. Like that was but I think he had realized that he could it's like weaponizing his tears. He knew that was a way to get out of trouble. But then now that I was thinking about it just before the episode began is, have I weaponized tears? I have. I've been in situations where I'm like, I know I'm the one who's like, woo. But it's like, I'm like, okay, if I don't cry, this situation could go really badly. So I have cried, and that helped get me I got out of trouble. So I was thinking, okay, so how come
you're okay to do this?
Yeah, why is it okay for me to be able to weaponize my tears? But then with him, I was like, fuck that dude. He was, I didn't mind that he was vulnerable. That's not an issue to me. It's just, I was just like, why would he take advantage of, which is shit. But I'm like, I've done it, right? And I have done it not just even in relationship situations. If you're stopped by the police, in Nairobi, and they're truly trying to take you into the station. You just let a few tears out.
Are you feeling the emotions, or you're trying to squeeze as many?
You're trying
tears?
to squeeze her, and they're like, okay, it's okay, madam. Okay, I've done that when I was late for a flight.
Yeah.
And I was trying. I wept. Let me tell you, I wept. They didn't let me on that flight. But I have. So clearly, for society has made it fine for us, but for dudes, we are measuring at what places. Like even for me, who I'm like okay with it, and I notice even online, many women have we kind of play the game of no, a man should not cry. Oh, but if it's on his wedding day and he's at the front and he sees her and he cries, we're all like, oh, that's so nice.
So the emotion here is let men cry because of happiness, but not cry because of pain.
Yes. We want to measure where they can be vulnerable. But we are still saying, we are the same one saying, no, men should be able to be vulnerable like we are. But we are very two-faced about it.
But you know me, like, if I would want to be the one with the tears. Like, I don't know. I want if I see a man's tears, and specifically in a space where maybe my own view thinks that's not justified for those tears to come out, I sort of lose a little bit of respect and where I hold you up, because I want to see you strong. Again, this is like the way I grew up. I want to feel you're very strong. You're stronger than me, And again, this is something probably very internalized with how we grew up.
It's society. Yes.
And where we were told boys never cry, you have to man up, and but having come from that space, like it's taking a lot of undoing to unthink some of these things.
Oh yeah. Okay, so now that you say that, man up, so I came across this comment.
Yeah.
So I think a dude had gone through an experience with this girl. I guess he was dating her. Then they went through the traditional processes of going to see the family, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So they were preparing for the traditional ceremony. Why am I doing this? Traditional ceremony. And then he found out she was cheating. And he said it's not the first time he's caught her cheating. But now he's like, what should he do? And they're close to their traditional ceremony. But he went and posted it on social media. So someone screen grabbed what he had posted and had said, okay, there's this kid who's crying all over Facebook. Dear men, if you are not born with manly traits, get books and mentors, because this shit is sad. Your woman wants and needs a man with a masculine frame, and for them to feel safe and content. Otherwise, she'll always be on the lookout for that man.
Is that close to my heart, what I was thinking?
And so many of the comments,
it
was 50-50.
Okay.
There are people who are like, this is dumb. Like, no, we live in a different society.
Yeah.
Like, no, let men feel the way. For him to have gone and post that on Facebook, that person was being vulnerable, blah, blah, blah. And the people who are like, yeah, dudes should we are men, we are. And I was sad to see the comments were 50-50. Very sad.
So have you checked on the 50-50, where did men lean and where did women lean?
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't know which ones were men and women.
Okay.
And it's a platform where you can have anonymous names. So I have no clue.
Okay. Well, that would be a good statistic to pull.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your take?
I think we are.
Where it depends for you.
I don't know if. So I think it depends in the scenario given, where I think people it should not be used to weaponize tears.
Yeah.
But then because I thought of how often I or women are allowed to, jump in this different, you can cry because you want to, you can cry because it will get you out of trouble. You can, that's made me take back my defense, because initially I was going to say, no, it depends, in that if it's not for weaponizing or using it to your advantage, no. But women are doing it. So men should be able to just feel.
I don't mind with men feeling. It's about the expression. How do you express your feeling? Because feeling is human.
Wait, so say that again.
It's okay to feel something, and it's human nature to feel.
Yeah.
It's the expression of that feeling.
Yes. So you are okay.
For
Is
a
there-
man to feel sad, but just not to cry about it.
Well, it has to be. I can put it in buckets the way I see it. Yeah. There are things that I know. For example, if there's grief, I'm not gonna say a man should, go through grief as manly as they've been told to be, like no tears. I feel like that's they're big human emotions that you cannot put buckets into. Like for example, grief, maybe even happiness. There are people who cry because of tears of happiness. Maybe one tear, two, but not wailing.
She said one or two.
Yeah, not wailing. But there, maybe let me take it from my own perspective. Is that I'm a person who was raised as a very strong woman. Please, I want to feel there's another stronger person above me. I don't want to see a lot of tears, as it sounds. Every little thing makes you cry. No, apana. No. I want to feel there's strength above me. That
Okay.
Damn. That is a clip right there.
no, we can't be both watching cat videos. I'm crying, and the man next to me is expressing the emotion with tears as well.
Yeah. Hey.
Maybe this we have to cut as controversial.
No, because
But that's my authentic feeling.
this is
about
how
it.
we've been raised. This
Yes,
is the thing. This
yes.
is how we've been raised.
Yes.
So I think even as much as we say, yes, we should live in a world where men can have feelings.
Yeah.
Everyone should be allowed to have feelings.
Yeah,
It's easy to say.
yeah,
For it to be a reality, it means that we, especially women, have to create a safe space for the dudes to be able to feel that way. Because it's one of those things we also play a huge role
yeah.
in demonizing dudes. We play a very large role in it. Oh, go ahead.
Your depends.
It depends.
Yeah.
Because, you're right. Like, men also need a safe space.
Yes.
If you want a guy who, can be tough and fight for you when the time comes to fight, he should be able to cry whenever you're crying, or cry with you, or cry about something. If that's the way he expresses himself, you can't expect him to be outside in the world, be tough out there, and then come and be tough in here for you as well.
Yeah.
Not being himself. It makes for a very, what's the word? One-sided life. You know what I mean? Where he's got this tough stance every single day.
Or
This
he has to keep that
He have to
all the
keep
time.
all these emotions crushed in. When he's inside with you, when you're in the sheets there together, he should be free. If he feels like crying after this workout session that has made him cry, he should cry.
Shit.
You know what I
So
mean?
there's a point here. You've
That's true,
said.
because girls do cry.
Yes, but there's
You
a
should
point
cry.
here you've said, and I think this is probably what I've not seen. I've not seen the toughness out there reflected by. Like, I've not seen a balance. Like, when I see you, you're soft around me. I see you also soft outside there.
Oh,
You see what I mean?
damn. Okay.
So for me,
Hey,
it's
clip number 2.
Just clip Carol.
Maybe the whole episode, man.
Clip her the entire time.
but that's you've mentioned, yeah, like what you've mentioned is like, you can be tough out there, you can be a leader, and you also have a safe space to be vulnerable, to express your emotions and your feelings. But if those two things are not working, they're not together, it doesn't, to me, there's something lacking, If you're tough outside and also tough at home, of course you don't want that kind of person around you, all the time they're tough. But also if you're soft at home and then you're also soft outside, then I feel it's a balance.
Question: the soft outside, is it because you perceive that they're being soft outside, or like how do you define that they're being soft outside?
The way you carry yourself, your leadership skills, your
Sounds like a job, a job interview. Your leadership skills,
yes.
collaboration.
Yeah. Like, are you able to go out and do stuff and be somebody? To me, I want to see that toughness outside for a man, Go make decision, make moves, do whatever needs to be done, get things rolling, get things moving. But if that for me is toughness, yeah.
Okay.
And then when you come home, like, there's space for you to be vulnerable, to express your emotions, to cry, then for me, if those two things exist, for me, that's perfect. But if I see only one side where it's either softness or hardness, then, yeah.
So you're open to different ways of thinking, opposed from the way you are raised.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
that's fair.
Yeah, definitely.
That's fair. That's
And
okay.
again, as I said, like, when I sat at that table and I saw the man crying, and I was thought, actually, these are just tears. We've seen the man wail in front, like, he has big emotions. He wails, I was like, yeah. but but if
I'm laughing at the expression, not the man. Sorry.
I'd like to apologize on behalf of
I'm sorry, I'm laughing.
the crew here at IDIG.
My people in Nairobi,
Allegedly.
who I was with 2 weekends ago, and probably my sister knows what I'm talking about. But it's it's maybe if I saw a vulnerability and tears, and then there was a balance to something else, like, maybe it wouldn't have come as shocking as it was, Yeah. But anyway, I don't want to talk too much.
No, I do wonder
Yeah.
if there are things that are expected of women that annoy us, or that maybe the feminist movement or whatever is kind of like fighting against or trying to get us to an equal playing field. But I do wonder if I don't know if women have that equivalent, because I don't know if men have an expectation where you should just be because I think this is tied to the whole concept of what masculinity is, right? And vulnerability is not, well, I guess maybe traditionally whatever was not part of that definition. It was provide, protect. What's the other P? Something. Like it was that, but there was never this vulnerability piece. I wonder for women, is it you should be a homemaker and just raise children? Is that what is the equivalent to
for women?
Yeah, because I don't know.
Yeah, it's the femininity of you're soft, you raise kids, you are a homemaker, you're cooking, you're a flower.
Are we judged as harshly on feminine?
Yes,
roles?
we are.
Oh,
yeah. I think recently, maybe there's some years when things moved to women becoming more empowered, like everybody went with women go out, make moves, shatter the glass ceilings and everything. Like, they were making power moves. But now I feel like there's been a trend that has come for women to be more feminine. Like, you're like, oh, you're not as feminine,
But is that from other women or is it from men? Are men, like, is there something that men feel like, oh yeah, I'm trying to figure out because if this vulnerability is a discussion in the female space, is there something that in the dude space about?
Until you said the crying thing, I think it was mainly the crying thing.
So within the dudes spaces,
within
also
the dude spaces,
for other
like
dudes, it's also a crying thing.
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to think of the pressures that women might fall under in a similar way. Like,
that for you dudes, like if you see a chick doing that, you'd be like, ew, she's the same way for us. We're like, ew, he's crying. Is there something to the like, yeah, she's
too masculine.
She's a CEO.
Yeah.
No, let me sit with it for a second.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything off top.
I've seen it in spaces like being on social media and all, like the aggressiveness, the talking loud, is looked as very non-feminine, overly expressing yourself. Like these are, because the new feminine movement that's happening. There's some things they tell you, oh, if you don't do this or if you're doing this, you're too much, It's not something expected of you, Yeah.
And it's dudes who are
No, it's mainly women.
It's women who are...
But you see, the funny part is, it is women who are calling out this because they are like, if you're not like this, men will not want you. So women speaking on behalf
of men. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah.
I've heard that.
Yeah,
The female space is complicated.
But again, can we break it down to science? I want to bring something controversial here.
Oh, you're on the roll already. Don't stop now.
Don't stop. Train has left the station.
It's gone.
Carry
on. Don't you think that the way we are physiologically created as male and female, we are bound to also react to things differently? Men, hormone-wise, men have testosterone.
Yeah.
Women, we have progesterone, estrogen,
All the ones that give you feelings.
Yes. And testosterone is known to be an action-oriented hormone. It is a doer hormone. And I've seen takes where people have said that men are losing a lot of their testosterone, so they're becoming weaker. Sorry, this is allegedly, but...
this is scientifically.
Scientifically, allegedly, yes.
Hiya, this podcast. Alhamdulillah.
Actually, this was a take from another man. This was not even on social media. It's a man who was telling me this about the male hormone, And there is the take of even the diet, the food can change your hormones and also how you react to things, because if your testosterone goes down, then probably you can get another hormone. I'm not sure how true that is.
Does that change into a female hormone, or you just lose that?
Maybe you lose the hormone, so you don't have you have less of what you probably have.
Wait,
So it makes you... Oh, go ahead.
Sidebar. Is that what happened to the girl in the Olympics? What's her name? Who got accused? Who beat up the Italian woman, the boxer?
So that is... Okay,
Is that what's happening? So it's a reverse. She probably has to deal with too much in life, which gives her...
So she probably has... Because women have testosterone as well.
Yeah.
We also have it, but in low levels, right? But some people are born with a higher level of it, which can present physiologically.
Yeah. And also
which is why they were saying for certain the Olympic committees, some of the athletics committees started bringing in this thing of like testing, like hormonal tests, so that they can say if you're...
This can be so tricky. So because at what level do you cap then this amount of hormones and you can't fight another woman? Do you know what I mean?
But that's what the IOC was like, no.
Yeah.
It's very tricky ground.
Yeah, that's what the IOC was like, nah.
And also don't forget that some of these tests, whenever they are done, or even some of the studies, if they don't spread out across different demographics, like people of color, white people.
Because maybe
we
by
are all
default,
genetically
maybe we have a higher level of testosterone than a different race.
Oh. Anyway, that was a sidebar.
Yes, but to come back to that point about physiologically us being different and testosterone and the female hormones also playing a part of how we go through life, if something goes down or something goes up or something is unbalanced, then again, maybe you get those big emotions. And express
but I
yourselves.
guess I'm thinking if we are moving in a world where we want women to have whatever opportunity they want, right? You shouldn't be capped by you're a woman, so you should not. We want to be able to do life, whatever. There should not be anything that says, oh, because you're a woman, women can have the choice to work or stay-at-home moms, you should be able to do anything, right? That's what the movement was meant to be, but it's something
Yes.
else. Shouldn't that also accommodate for? Because we are saying the traditional wasn't great, so we want to move towards a modern era whereby you're able or allowed to do whatever, not even allowed. You should move in the world the way you want to. Shouldn't that also? Why do we want it only for our side to change, but then we want that side to still go hunt and kill lions and not
Because
cry?
they've had the advantage all the time. We're just catching up. It's like when we were talking about Tanzania and the Italians running the hotels.
you got me at that
Oh,
one.
no.
And the systems were made specifically patriarchal
The
systems.
patriarchy should lose out for a bit.
Yes,
Oh,
please.
man.
No,
I tried.
I don't think there's an advantage for anyone. I think everyone's got, it's 50-50. Everyone's got disadvantages.
Yeah.
And when it comes to female and male anyway.
Yeah.
As much as it seems like there's a lot going for the male side, there's a lot of pressure for guys.
Yeah,
In
100%.
life in
yeah.
general, just to perform at a certain level. To get there are some guys not seeing one piece of ass for years because they just don't have what these.
didn't know that was
It's honest. No, it is, and I'm speaking on behalf of them. They
Wait, why?
no, because someone has to.
Someone has to not get a piece of us.
No, everyone deserves something.
Yeah.
Come on now.
So, but why aren't they getting some us?
No, because the pressure, the societal pressures that are on this person to perform at a certain level, and he just doesn't have the motivation. All he wants to do is play
If he
video
doesn't have
games.
motivation, then he shouldn't
The
eat.
video games and fix cars and that's it. And then I think it's difficult, and then it's just society has bent the world in a certain way
Yeah.
that makes it difficult
Yeah.
for both parties. It's not easy for anyone.
Yeah, I do feel what you said there, and I've heard about it from many men that the expectations for men is way higher
I'm telling
to
you.
make it, to navigate the world, to show who they are,
But still be vulnerable. We're not too vulnerable.
But
just
not
a
too
bit.
vulnerable. Just,
One
yeah.
tear.
On the
And
inside, behind closed doors.
Yes. At a funeral, the end. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, we expect. Yeah, that's my take. Yeah.
Okay. Should I read this other one?
Careful.
Okay. This is another post about someone saying, as a man, I have learned never ever to cry in public, even around those who tell you it's okay. And he says, never under any circumstance as a man should you cry in public. At worst, maybe at a funeral. This is allowed. But any other circumstance, never do it. When men cry in public, they don't get the same sympathy that women get. Society as a whole expects women to be fragile, which is why when a woman cries in public, it is allowed. She's even praised for it and applauded for her bravery, and outpouring support comes to her. As a man, society expects you to be strong. Crying in public will repel people and make them uncomfortable, especially the people who claim that crying as a man is okay. Or why don't men cry anymore? Be wary of such people. If you cry around such people, they will pretend for a short time it's okay, but you will afterwards notice a huge difference in how they treat you. Men, never ever cry in public. Other men will not hide it. They will lose respect for you. Women will usually try to pretend like it's okay, but they will also equally lose respect for you or talk about you badly behind your back. Cry in front of women more than twice, and just like the men, they will not hide that they've lost respect for you. As a man, expecting the world to treat you the way women are treated when crying in public is delusion. Go cry in private if you have to. In any case, the world doesn't care about your tears anyway.
First of all, this person sounds like they are 50. I bet you if we check that person has seen a good few Christmases. I think that's an outdated way of thinking, first of all, because the younger, especially I don't know what the gens are, but the younger generation is very open about their feelings and the way they feel and crying around men. And then I see it every day within society where you see guys are now out there holding hands and it's not seen as, and then I actually asked him that, yo, you guys, are y'all like that? I say, and then he was like, oh, so you got to be like that to hold hands? No, this is my brother. And I like, these are young, I think these guys were 20, 21. Yeah, they were just holding hands. And because they had just finished having a heart-to-heart between two guys.
Yeah.
These are straight men.
Yeah.
You know, it was interesting. They both we worked together. I probably shouldn't. But they had this talk, and I was like, "Yo, you guys like that?" Because immediately my old ass mind went there, thinking that these two men shouldn't be holding hands and shouldn't be feeling very. You could see that they had just gotten up from a girly talk. That's exactly what it was.
That's all a girly talk. I talk.
A talk. You see, oh my god. You see, I just did it like that.
You said it.
My old ass had kicked in again. You know,
It's not a girly talk. It's just a talk.
it's just a talk.
It's just a talk.
There we go. You know, I think it's with time. The road downstairs there was once 50 kilometers per hour before they had such fast cars.
Yeah.
Now it's 30.
Yeah.
Because they know that times have changed. Cars are more powerful, and it's just an analogy to say that with time, things have to. You just have to adjust to the way things are. Just because, you know, the person has decided, this is not what I want to be called anymore. That's just the change of period. Just because your old ass is not happy with the way things are now, it doesn't mean that you should go around with a hard head and say that, men don't cry. These days they do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And if it is a generational thing, I do notice that sometimes, and maybe I've also started doing this, but I've noticed that with the generations ahead of me, whereby sometimes there's an anger. I've seen this especially in the gay community. And I was watching a talk where they had they were a gay couple, but they were older. I think maybe they're in the 60s or 70s, and a very young gay couple. But then the older couple was saying, at some point they did have some resentment for them feeling like these younger gays, they have it so easy, right? Because they had to struggle, etc., and all that, right?
True.
So sometimes they would hold on to this thing because they're like, why should it be so easy for them, right? But then now you have to remember, like, no, we went through that so that it can be easy for them. So you have to look at that and be like, yo, we did that for those guys, right? So yes, gladly they're still here and they're able to enjoy the fruits of their hard work and all the persecution they went through. But I think it's similar. I think sometimes generationally we want to sometimes, and it's counterintuitive. We know some things, some ways we think are a bit toxic, but we want to hold on to it but that's how it's just always been.
Yeah.
But we're saying it's bad. So we need to also change it so these guys can also have a different experience.
That's true.
Yeah.
The only thing in life that we are sure of is change. Change will always
100%.
Yeah.
You can also change your mind within a week's time and say you're not okay with it. That's okay to change your mind as well.
Yeah.
You know, I think.
And you know, in certain cultures, men do hold hands.
Yeah.
Just generally, they walk holding hands in certain cultures.
Indians.
Yeah.
I swear.
They do?
Also Arabic culture.
Oh,
yeah.
yes,
Hold
yes.
hands. Yeah. It's normal.
I've seen, I was actually trying to think through our African countries. Like, is there a community that is known for men to be very close-knit and vulnerable with each other? I can't think of. Maybe more northern because of certain cultures.
Because of influences from the Arabic influences, maybe.
Yeah. But Sub-Saharan.
You know what else I was going to blame? Nothing, forget it. I was going to say also blame circumcision, but no.
Do it.
Because if you go through the traditional circumcision methods, the people say when the boys come back, they're different.
Yeah.
It's like you're told, now you're a man, and now you're blah, 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 and now you have gone through this, so you don't even be with your mom now and your friend. And it's like, they come back and it's like, we are men. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot you are told as a boy that makes you very dangerous for the society that we have today.
Yeah.
You know, when a relative would tell you, this is my other lady friend. Don't tell your mom or your aunt, you know.
Yeah.
You when you're a man, you'll know how things go, you know. You know, you'll be nudging you on, and this is what you're pushed on. The more, you know, I've said it before, and this the more conquest you have.
Yeah.
as a
The
man,
more
the
manly
manly
you
you are.
are.
You know what I mean? Which
Yeah.
which puts a lot of boys out here on a run. You know, but
Does that
Yeah.
still stand? Like, do we think that still happens? Probably, yeah.
The
African culture, yes.
in African
yeah,
culture,
Yeah.
a lot has to change.
Yeah.
A lot has to change.
Yeah.
Oh wait, let me finish with I don't know if this. There was someone had a very funny response. They're like, "Oh yeah, I don't cry," but he's like, every so often my eyes sweat when I cut onions. And then he's like, but also when my bank account is zero, it must be some allergy to something. The folks are like, yeah, that allergy to money,
Yeah.
to not having money, to brokenness.
Yeah.
I feel it. I was like, oh, but yeah, and the responses here, there was a lot of serious responses, but also a lot of jokes.
Yeah.
But also I wonder, just also in the men's spaces, if hopefully at least it's changing there where men feel safe with their men friends
yeah,
to be more vulnerable,
yeah.
and
think-
the work maybe needs to be on our end.
Yeah, no. I think there are some dogs that can't be taught new
trained.
tricks. You are what
gone.
you are.
Yeah.
I've got a friend of mine who's got these views that are very African orientated, and he won't
Shift.
he won't entertain anything else, not even the thought of it, because he just brings this energy of this agenda that's being pushed from the other side, which is not the case. I've luckily enough, I've hung around enough people to learn better, and with time, I think the more we listen to each other and listen to podcasts and subscribe to podcasts, see, you like the way I
Good
did
luck. Like these ones, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so our landing here is, Carol, hopefully you can allow the man to cry at least three tears.
You're allowed, my man.
My man.
my man. You're allowed.
Let me zoom in there. Let me zoom in. Let me catch that. Okay, so we know who's saying it. Because sometimes, go.
And we'll show him this clip.
That camera there.
This camera. You're allowed 3 tears in private. You can wail a little bit
Yeah.
in the
In the
bathroom,
shower. He said you can't hear.
but be strong out there. Yes, that's a good balance.
That's a good
My
balance.
man.
The rest of the podcast does not subscribe to this way of thinking at all.
But please subscribe to us.
Yeah.
And see you next time. Thank you.
See ya. That's a good one.